Sophie recently got a surprise from Caitlin Clark. Cunningham signed a $25 million contract with Nike. Just observe her response. No one anticipated. When Caitlin Clark walked, what happened? Into the private conference room with information that would transform her teammates. Eternal life. Cunningham, Sophie, who had worked hard in the WNBA for years, obtaining small endorsement deals while seeing the signing of contracts by male sportsmen more valuable than her whole professional life. Earnings was going to be shocked. Of her career, the instant when generational wealth and real friendship, when the impact of a celebrity becomes a life-altering chance, and when the strength of basketball for women reaches new heights. No one believed it was possible. However, how did Clark is able to plan such a huge concern for her teammate? What this means for women's futures? Endorsements in sports? The repercussions from this extraordinary moment could change the way female athletes think about trademark alliances and team devotion in methods that go well beyond basketball. Deals for WNBA player endorsements have been much smaller in the past, compared to those accessible to men. Professional sportsmen, representing the league's diminished commercial presence, and less publicity in the media than professional basketball for men. The majority of WNBA players receive measurable compensation for their endorsements, in thousands instead of millions. Money. Currently, Sophie Cunningham, while representing the Phoenix Mercury, symbolizes a normal WNBA veteran in regarding prospects for endorsements. As a dependable role player and well-liked by fans, for her ability to shoot three-pointers and fierce competition, she has achieved little sponsorship agreements that add to her earnings from the WNBA. The recommendation environment for female basketball players involves collaborations with sports, clothing manufacturers, nearby enterprises, and niche sportswear companies for women that emphasize the expanding market for women, sports goods and services. These usually negotiations involve significantly smaller monetary obligations compared to significant male endorsements by athletes. The majority of WNBA players collaborate with regional or smaller brands, businesses as opposed to large multinational firms, in part because to the league's traditionally small exposure on television and commercial reach. Concerns are raised on how the progress in women's basketball in recent years popularity may be altering these dynamics. Experts in sports marketing observe that the market for female endorsements, the number of athletes has increased as women's more people are interested in sports. Regarding profitability, developing new chances for athletes who are able to profit from greater visibility and fan interaction. The arrival of Caitlin Clark into the world of professional basketball has changed the endorsement in a significant way. The women's basketball scene, players exhibiting commercial worth that has previously appeared unattainable for female athletes participating in team sports. Her deals have established new standards for what's feasible in the marketing of women's sports. Clark's alleged collaboration with Nike, valued at millions of dollars across several years, it is among the biggest endorsement agreements ever made by a basketball player for women. The agreement covers the creation of signature shoes, clothing collections, and advertising campaigns that demonstrate her standing as a influential person in the sport. The profitability of Clark's. She has been the one driving the endorsements. The capacity to produce television, audience size, participation in social media, and fan base that rivals that of many men. Professional sportsmen. Her games continuously attract audiences that surpass average WNBA viewership by a significant margins. Nike's expenditure on Clark represents a wider understanding that women's sports are unexplored. Business prospects as fan bases expand and corporate America becomes more interested in hanging out with women. sportsmen who can increase brand interaction and sales of products. The accomplishment of, because of Clark's endorsement deals, new opportunities for the lives of other women. Basketball players are recognized by brands. That the sport's increasing appeal opens doors for collaborations with participants who can become involved and growing audiences. Cunningham, Sophie, has proven herself to be a valuable participant in the WNBA since the Phoenix Mercury selected him in the 2019 draft. 6 feet 1 inch and well known for her the ability to shoot 3 points, and she has turned into a devotee of competitive fire. Preferred and trustworthy source for among the league's most prosperous franchises. Cunningham had an 8.2 average points per game in the WNBA 2024 season despite making 37.8% of the shots from three-point shooting range, showcasing the unique abilities that make her useful for groups looking for trustworthy gunfire from outside and guidance from veterans. Her steady performance has made her a reliable participant in an important game circumstances. Outside of her on-court, Cunningham's contributions have evolved a robust fan base and social media presence. The following, which captures her character and a personable public persona, her genuineness and interaction with fans, have developed a marketing strategy that goes beyond just basketball. Performance indicators. Her time in college included fruitful seasons at Missouri that demonstrated her shooting prowess and competitive nature. However, she didn't obtain the degree of national focus that contemporary athletes like Clark possess, generated by their university achievement and publicity. The combination of strong professional performance, captivating demeanor, and increasing fan recognition leads to possibility for endorsements that could have been neglected in earlier periods of women's marketing for basketball, especially as the commercial attractiveness of sports keeps growing. The marketing environment for women's athletics has experienced significant change in the last few years, motivated by through more broadcast exposure, social media involvement, as well as corporate acknowledgement that female athletes are capable of provide a substantial amount of brand value and interaction with customers. Conventional strategies for promoting women's sports centered on niche, smaller brands. It was especially directed at women customers or specialized markets. This restricted scope represented presumptions regarding magnitude of the audience and profitability. That recent increase in the popularity of women's sports, the accomplishments of female athletes in individual tennis and golf are two sports that have offered models for players participating in team sports looking for to establish personal brands and safeguard endorsement agreements that demonstrate their marketability and worth, as opposed to historical models for the women's squad. Endorsements for sports. Social media platforms have made athletes more accessible, marketing by letting participants create intimate connections with fans and exhibit their individuality and passions outside of sports performance. This immediate interaction adds value for companies looking to genuine relationships with customers. Business marketing tactics have came to understand that linking brands can benefit from female athletes, reach interested audiences whilst exhibiting dedication to gender equality and the empowerment of women, generating value for the company that goes beyond conventional metrics for advertising. Nike has always been selective in its expenditures for women's basketball recommendations. Even so, the business has strengthened its dedication to the game as there are now more commercial prospects and the league has become more popular. Focus and legitimacy. The Athletic. Caitlin's partnership with the apparel giants Clark is an important investment in basketball for women that shows appreciation for the sport's expanding business possibilities, as well as Clark's special capacity to pique fans' curiosity. and interaction with the brand. Nike's women's. Developing a basketball strategy involves goods created especially for female consumers and athletes. Understanding that women's basketball equipment and clothing are separate markets. Chances that call for specific strategies for marketing and design. The investment made by the business in signature shoes. Advancement in women's basketball. Players has been scarcer than basketball for men. However, Clark's agreement allegedly has preparations for signing shoes that could create fresh standards for athletic footwear for women. Partnerships. Inquiries are raised regarding how Nike's augmented expenditure on women's basketball could have an impact on a rival. Brands should look for comparable collaborations, and whether the present deal's success will result in increased investment throughout the sport and league. Top athletes frequently have a broad effect beyond their own consent. Chances to incorporate the capacity to provide colleagues with opportunities, friends as well as other participants in their organizations and sports. This impact can be especially effective when strategically placed. Caitlin Clark's brand and financial success. Relationships have produced leverage that, in theory, she could utilize it to her advantage. Other participants, either directly, support for colleagues, or by illustrating the wider commercial. Women's basketball's potential that helps every player. The idea of superstar athletes utilizing their platform to elevate others is more important in. Recognized stars in a variety of sports have supported teammates or made use of their ability to generate opportunities, which might not have existed otherwise. For younger athletes or role players, team dynamics and individual relationships frequently affect how stars decide to utilize their platform and sway. Gamers who grow sincere connections and respect for one another might be more inclined to support each success of others both on and off the court. Experts in sports marketing observe that companies like having access to a variety of athletes on winning teams or sports, giving celebrities opportunity, gamers to maybe provide package discounts or support colleagues as a component of more extensive collaboration agreements. The possibility of even bigger endorsement agreements are revolutionary financial prospects. For WNBA athletes who receive league pay are significantly less than those accessible in men's professional basketball as well as the majority of other major professional athletics. WNBA pay structures consist of maximum contracts that fall well short of what top players could make money in foreign leagues or by means of endorsement prospects, forming brand alliances. Essential for gamers looking to optimize their capacity to make money during their professions. The monetary stability offered by significant endorsement agreements can have an impact. Career choices, enabling athletes to concentrate on basketball performance instead of then monetary considerations, but also supplying enduring security that surpasses their playing career. Financial and tax ramifications. The importance of management is growing. As the value of endorsements rises, players must collaborate with financial accountants and tax experts to maximize their profits and make plans for financial stability after a career. The possibility of a transformational endorsement deals may affect how players approach their professions, public personas, and brand development as they realize the available financial opportunities through alliances in strategic marketing and developing one's own brand. Teams that play professional sports function as intricate social and professional settings in which player connections can have a big impact on the team, chemistry, output, and professional growth. Good opportunities are frequently created by relationships for progress and support of one another. The team culture of the Phoenix Mercury has traditionally placed a strong emphasis on veterans, player development, and leadership, establishing a setting where younger players are mentored by senior players, teammates, and provide mutual support. Professional development both within and outside of court. Caitlin Clark's connection to Mercury musicians, especially during her rookie season, which has been distinguished by regard for one another and assistance in one's career. Despite the fierce competition that characterizes professional basketball at the highest levels, team accomplishments frequently depends on the players' readiness to encourage one another's personal achievement, while retaining attention on collective objectives and championship aspirations. This balance necessitates capable leadership and robust corporate culture. Queries emerge on the manner in which significant endorsement differences among teammates could impact the dynamics of the squad, and if players with more extensive business prospects have obligations to provide for brand building for teammates and financial prospects. Important sponsorship agreements for women's basketball. Players have ramifications that go beyond personal financial gain to incorporate wider impacts on sports, commercial feasibility, publicity, and perceptions of culture. The evidence that women's basketball players can